I want a little more. Okay. All right. Good morning. Good morning. What's up, everybody? Hey, Dream Doer Nation. You all, for those of you who don't know me, let me introduce myself. For those of you who do know me, what's up? So my name is Lisa Knox Bussey, and I am your small business strategist. And this morning, we are talking to another entrepreneur. You guys know that I love to bring on other entrepreneurs who are doing their own thing in their own lane and is just doing something so unique. And so that's why I brought this young man in here today. I had the opportunity to come across who he was. One night, late at night, I posted the other night that you really find interesting things when you're on Facebook late at night. So right before I went to bed one evening, I saw that they were having a workshop, and it was called Grow Your Own Groceries. And where was the workshop at?
That workshop you went to was at Mark's Greenhouse here in Albany, Georgia.
Okay, right, at Mark's Greenhouse. So I saw that you could learn how to grow your own groceries in a Saturday morning. So it was something I was starting to find an interest for and wanted to get a little bit more into. So popped over there the next morning, found it out on Facebook. Y'all, the Facebook is off the map, okay? If you use it properly, right, it can really be used for some amazing things. So found him on Facebook, went to the workshop the next morning, and there was Farmer Frito and teaching a group of people about how they can grow their own groceries. So Farmer Frito, thank you so much for coming to Dream Doer Nation today.
No, I appreciate you having me on, Sister Lisa.
All right. Okay, so tell us who you are and tell us a little bit about your business.
Okay, so my real name is Fernando Jackson, but I go by the name Farmer Fredo. And the name just came about just because I didn't want people saying Fernando or Ferdinand. And I was working with like some young people in Atlanta, Georgia. Okay. And they just said they had seen like the Lord of the Rings movie. And the guy's name was Frodo, but I was a short brother. So they said, we just call you Fredo. Okay. And I think there's power when the community gives you a name. And so I kind of took ownership of it. I'm originally from Plains, Georgia. Up the road, Jimmy Carter country, and I traveled a lot growing up. And my grandfather used to have a garden spot like in the backyard. And so as a kid, I remember picking peas, getting stung by bees, picking a watermelon, busting it open, eating it, throwing it to Ryan across the street. Yep, but my mother always called me the earth baby. Okay. Because she always remembered me as a kid kind of playing in the mud, making mud pies and castles. And like my favorite activity with my grandparents was kind of like getting the water, like the ferns on a porch. And I used to like that because I would just fill them up with water and just let it just rain and drip water like everywhere. And she'd come out just yelling at me. But hey, that's kind of how I got started. And then as far as the agriculture and the workshop that you went to, there was just something that was in my spirit about like if people just knew how to grow, what could they do? But what I found out was that people saw it as this wall or this barrier, and they just thought it was just so difficult for them to do. And so as you saw from the workshop, in about 15, 20 minutes, right, I can get you growing for yourself.
Right. It was a really awesome process. So I had been learning more about natural eating and growing your own produce and your own vegetables and fruits and just wanting to be healthier. You know, I think that we really fall back and get really obsessed with convenience and running through the drive-through and eating a lot of grease and all of that. So I had started to get into that place where I wanted to learn more about natural living and growing your own food. And so I really appreciated the fact that this was right here in Albany. And it was very convenient, right off Aledo Road, so it was nowhere. But you also do a lot of things, you said from Plains all the way around, so you kind of move around with your business.
Oh yeah, I mean, like if you try to start any brand or any project, you have to be like mobile. And so one of the first things, like I explain to most people, is you have to figure out where your audience is at and like how to reach them and how to engage them. You know, so there's always that typical like farmer's market. But what I found out here in Albany was that most people that live in Albany tend to travel during the weekend, right? Okay. They tend to go out of town, whether it's Atlanta, Tallahassee, whatever. And so I started thinking of what could I do to give people access to fresh produce throughout the week.
Okay, so I just wanted to highlight what you just said. So what he did was he paid attention to his audience. He paid attention to his customer. He paid attention to his clientele and what it was that they would need in order to be able to do what it was that you wanted to share with them.
Right, right.
So you have to do that in your business. You guys, please share this video, okay? So we can learn all about what we need to know about natural living and growing and Farmer Fredo. So, okay, keep going. I'm sorry.
No, that's the point. So you find out listen to your audience, you find out what they want, and then you create based upon that. Like I learned through growing and farming that at the end of the day, I'm not in control of the end result. Mm-hmm. The universe controls. I could put the seed, the fertilizer, the water, I could do all those things, and it's still one other factor that I can't control, what the universe is going to do. And so I started with the Grow Your Groceries. And this was a workshop I used to do at universities, like Fort Valley, through like FAMU, been down to ABAC and Tifton. But what I started to realize in the room were people that already knew that sort of stuff.
Okay.
And I started thinking the person that needs this workshop is the average person that's not going to college.
Okay.
So it's like, how can I reach them? Well, start thinking of businesses that will cater to healthy consumers.
Okay.
So that's how I end up going to Mark's Greenhouse, or maybe it's like at 229, like a yoga studio. Somebody about like fitness and overall wellness, or maybe there's like a church group that's interested in like health and wellness as part of their ministry. So I put the word out like, hey, I want to do this workshop. Just grow your grocery, no charge to you. I just want to get the information out. Because information, like we live in a digital age, or information is like Google searching and all this clutter, right? I've done enough Google searching for you. Okay. I've watched enough YouTube videos for you. And so rather you go in to search and look and research, I was like, just come to me.
Right.
But I wanted to make it where
you've already done the work.
It's easy for you to gather. You know, like I'll tell people that the simple, I want to speak to you in a way that a third grader can catch. It's like I said when I had your son there. I asked him how old he was. He gave me his age. Oh, you're the perfect age. Come up in here and demonstrate where I can take someone that's in the second or third grade, teach them the basics of how to grow food, and if they get it and they capture it, you'll be amazed. And I want to share this one story with you real quick. We're going. So in my neighborhood, in my back of my yard, I have like a 20 by like 30 block of raised garden beds. Okay. So everything I teach about, I do back home. And so this past week, I'm making raised beds for some community garden projects I'm doing with the Georgia Department of Health. And there were kids in the neighborhood just riding their bike up and down the street. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, they stopped and said, Mr. Fredo, can we do a garden in our neighborhood? I said, yeah, and I got one in the back. So every day since then, there have been like these 3 young kids in the neighborhood. They come to me saying, we're excited about growing broccoli. We're excited about growing collard. And so, because they saw they saw the appearance on WALB. Okay. They saw me do the school garden at their school. But then it was that connection of, oh, this is the man that's actually in my neighborhood. Okay. And so, so that's like my biggest joy, because I always tell people, part of why I encourage community gardens, part of why I encourage raised bed gardening is I say that it's good for the hood.
Okay. All right. Good for the hood.
It's good for the hood.
That makes very much sense. So I love that. And like I told him, that's just being real. Like, how many dudes you see that look like him that's out here doing this? So that leads me to my next question. All right, so we know you are into gardening, you're into growing and all of that. So why? Tell us, why this? Why gardening? Why being outside and all of that?
Well, the foundation of it starts with, like, I love my family. Okay. You know, like I'm married, I have a son, you know, I have mother, aunties, I love my family, but they all have genetically, we have like diabetes issues, or we have like heart problems, right?
Yes, we do.
And so through that, I've kind of, that's part of what keeps me motivated, is trying to access people to a naturally grown, low chemical, like produce that you grow for yourself. Right. Because research has shown that within that first 6 hours that you harvest something, if you can consume it, it has more nutritional value to it, and in addition to the freshness. So the quicker that you're able to get it straight from the ground to your plate, the more nutrients you have in your body, right? And so especially now we have like the smoothie generation, where people making like kale smoothies. I use my wife for this part here, like I do grow strawberries.
Okay.
So I grow in my own backyard, right?
Okay.
And so the guy that cuts my grass, he gets strawberries, and my wife gets strawberries. Everybody around me gets strawberries. But the blessing is, once she gets them, we can freeze them, and then she has strawberry smoothies for like 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
And so that's part of what it is just like accessibility and getting people to know that you don't have to have heavy equipment.
Okay.
And the other piece why I do the container gardening is I'm what you call a lazy man farmer.
Okay.
Right? Where I'm not trying to be hoeing all day. I'm not trying to be like out in the sun.
That would be me.
Out in the sun I do the garden projects for a couple hours, but my mission is I think you should only be outside tending to your garden plot for about 20 minutes a week or 30 minutes a week. So you break that down between like 6 days or 6 days a week. That's just 5 minutes a day.
Okay.
So 5 minutes a day, I think most of us can handle being outside.
Not bad.
Even though we have the gnat problem and stuff like that. But 5 minutes a day, you can go in 10 and you'll be fine.
Okay.
And so that was another piece as far as what I try to do at the workshops is to show people it's not as labor intensive as you might think it is. It's actually like it relieves a lot of stress.
Okay, so tell us real quickly, if you were going to give us just a quick rundown. I know we're not at the workshop, but if you have one coming up, please definitely tell us about that. But like real quickly, what would be the quick process of how you would be able to grow your own garden?
Okay, so first off, I am doing a workshop this Saturday at Bennett's Feed and Seed off of Washington Street in downtown Albany.
Okay.
So again, it's Bennett's Feed and Seed. You can Google search and find them on Washington. And so the quick snapshot of how to grow your own groceries. The first thing that you need is a container, something that's roughly about 6 to 8 inches deep.
Container,
number one. Then once you get your container, make sure it has a drainage hole for the water to come out. And then you add a soil mixture. I do my own custom mix that I make with these hands here, and a shovel, of course, and that we mix in. Then once you get that, you have like a plant that you want to grow, whether it's I tend to have people start off what's called a transplant. So it's like a little seedling that's already established.
Okay.
Put it into like the bucket or the container. Add water.
Okay.
Number 3, add water.
Number 3.
Make sure it has sunlight. You're good to go.
That's it?
That's it.
That's all?
That's it.
Okay, so tell us one more time, what should we start off with?
Okay, so
what's really easy? So I'm brand new. I don't like to be outside.
All right.
I hate bugs and all of that, but I want to teach my son a better way.
Okay.
So what can I do just to jump off?
Just to jump it off, get you a 5-gallon bucket.
Okay.
5-gallon bucket. Get somebody to drill 4 holes in the bottom of that 5-gallon bucket. Get you a soil mixture that has a lot of organic or different.
So what's a good one that you recommend?
Well, the one I always recommend, of course, comes from Farmers Organic.
Okay.
And that's a local company based out of Baker County. Okay. And so it's right down the road.
Everything's local.
That's what it's about.
Okay. Okay.
I'm a local person. All right.
Okay.
So you get the soil mixture that comes in from Farmers Organic, and put that into your pot or your container, and then you go get like a transplant or a seed. You can go to Bennett's Feed and Seed.
Yep.
Or I'm doing the workshop. Get one of those plants, put it into the bucket, water it, and then every now and then make sure it gets plenty of sunlight.
Okay.
So that's it. A 5-gallon bucket, soil, plant, sunlight.
That's it.
And water.
Okay, so now we're going into the winter months. So I know it's a little bit easier to grow in the summer. Is that true?
Actually, I encourage more people to grow during the fall.
Okay.
Just because as the temperatures cool off, you have less pests. Because they go dormant, they hibernate, they kind of go to sleep.
Okay.
So you have less pest pressure.
Okay.
So with less pests, you don't have to worry about bugs eating up your plants.
Gotcha.
So when you get into the summer months, it's like how we are. We all try to be out.
Yeah.
You know, when it's summertime, we try to go to Panama City, trying to go to the beach. We try to have 4th of July cookouts and grilling. Same thing happened in the world like insect and pest control.
Okay.
It's like you didn't see no bugs the entire like winter months, but then all of a sudden summertime hit, and you got like caterpillar worms eating up your tomatoes.
Yeah.
You have caterpillar loopers that are flying up eating up your greens.
Okay.
So I encourage people to get started more in the fall time because another reason it's cooler.
Okay.
You know, so if you can survive.
Don't mind being outside.
Right. Yeah, it's cooler. Like when it's sitting around 93, like 93 degrees at 10 o'clock in the morning,
right,
it's like, oh no, this ain't gonna work.
Yeah, you're right. You're so right. You are so right.
And so that's part of like just getting them acclimated, getting started, and especially like with young kids. So so when I do like the school gardens, we tend to plant our first plantings for the school gardens. We do them in the fall.
Okay.
And we focus on crops that can be served at Thanksgiving and at Christmas time.
Okay.
Because we found out with young kids, you have to give them a goal or a destination or something that would like motivate
them. And they got to kind of see the progress.
Yes, and when I start the workshop, you ask any kid, they love eating Thanksgiving meal, and they love the big Christmas meal because they tend to be a little bit different than your Sunday meal. And then as you're able to get them to grow, you know, like that broccoli for the broccoli casserole or for the squash casserole, or have them grow a bunch of collard greens, because I did a community garden and down in Thomas County. And we grew collards and turnips. That's all I want to grow because I want the kids to get excited. So when they go home, imagine you have a son. So imagine your son comes through the door and he has a bundle of collard greens, and they're all the size of his face. And he said, "Mama, will you cook this?"
Okay.
What you gonna do?
I'm gonna cook it.
That's right. And then the next thing you'll know, your baby gonna go out and grow some more, and he's gonna come back and say, "Mama, cook this."
That's beautiful.
So the next thing you know, just off of the fact that your son is excited about it, you know, that's what could be the transformative nature.
Yeah, because after the workshop, that's exactly what happened. So my desire was that I'm into it, right?
Why you call me?
Well, I'm just saying, you know, I was trying to, you know, listen, we always try to do stuff on our own, like we know what we're doing, right? Like I done went to one workshop and I got a green thumb. I hate being outside. So that's why I went to the workshop, so that I could learn quickly what to do. Right. So after the workshop, well, like I said, first I was trying to get into all the healthy eating and all of that. Of course, I can't press it on my husband. I'm just going to pray that one day he'll just cross on over. And but he's doing a lot better. So we're all trying to eat better, and I've let the meat thing go. So I was trying to kind of, you know, get my son kind of just kind of thinking. That's all. I'm not going to push it on them. So we went to the workshop. Then after that, that's all he talked about. That's all he talked about. He wanted to go ahead and get something to grow. So the following weekend, we went to Home Depot, got the soil, got the pot, got the seedlings, got all of that. So we just planted. So, yep, we're officially growers because of Farmer Fredo.
And then the other piece, like I'll add to it, is like if you do have that bug.
Growers. I won't say farmers.
You are. You claim it. Like
okay,
speak
then.
things as if they are. That's what the scriptures say, right? All right. And so one thing I would say too is like you have this bug or this itch, and let's say you don't have the means to go purchase or go to Home Depot.
Okay.
Here in Albany, we have like 13 community gardens that are around like the city. You know, and they're all maybe, you know, on a half an acre sort of plot. You might be talking about 10 to 12 sort of raised beds that are like 4 feet by 8 feet.
Okay.
And all of these places need people to come volunteer. So, you know, like as a matter of fact, like tomorrow, I'll be down at the Bill Miller Community Center off of Vic Street, down on the south side, where we're doing raised garden beds. So like elderly people come in and they do like crafts and pottery, but we're also growing produce. Over at Carver Pool and Splash off of McKinley Street, we're doing some raised beds in the back there, right by the basketball court. Jackson Heights Wellness Center, we have like some raised garden beds there. Also at Thornton off of Oglethorpe on the other side of 19, and also some raised garden beds.
Now, I'm so pleased to hear this, but I didn't know anything about it. So tell me, how do we find out about this stuff?
Well, let's go back to Facebook.
Okay.
So like as we alluded to, as Lisa started off, is that like Facebook, a lot of growers, a lot of organizations are putting things on Facebook.
Yes.
And they're using like hashtag like gardening, healthy living, healthy Doherty, growing food access. These are just like key tag words, but you could look for them. So even like I have a Facebook page for Farmer Fredo.
Right.
So you can go to my Facebook page, and what I do is I list the days I'll be at these locations planting.
Okay.
So if you want to just come out and just get your hands dirty, or you want like what I call a true workshop, where not just where you sit in and let me talk, where you
there are tools involved.
Right, there are some tools involved in planning. That's part of like what you could just be a part of, because what I speak to people about is we talk about a community garden.
Right.
But I focus more on this word called a common unity, which is that community part. So if we're all in the ground planting seeds, we're all in the ground harvesting, we're all in the ground doing weed control, you start to get a small little nucleus of people.
Right.
So you depend upon each other. So if people know every Monday, Farmer Fredo is going to be at Bill Miller at 10 a.m. with a group of elderly seniors planting. If you have a little bit of a break, 15, 20 minutes, and you can drive down, come down and get something. And if we're harvesting that day, well, here goes like the thing, the blessing of growing food when you seek to grow in abundance is that you seek to share.
Wow.
And so that's the end product for me. I do it all the time. Like I do a produce basket like every week. And so once we do that, and that's the power right there. I let you know. Like that's what the universe wants.
Okay.
The universe wants the abundance. And so we share that abundance to show people that the access to food and seeds is for everyone. If I told you off of one collard plant, I can get over 2,000 seeds off of one plant.
And that's food for days.
That's
and
for
months.
days. That's what the universe is gonna give me.
Wow.
So why should I just be like, nah?
Endless resource.
Nah, that's here. Go bless yourself.
Wow.
You know somebody that needs some food?
Right.
Contact Farmer Fredo, and I will give them a bunch of collard greens. I will give them some sweet potatoes.
Wow.
Because part of what I also do is when I do have an abundance. And this is for you guys on Facebook here in Albany, Dougherty County. If you know food pantries, people that are doing soup kitchens, or there might be some seniors at your church that are in need, just reach out.
Y'all share this video. Are you serious? Please share this video. If you haven't shared it already, please make sure that you do so because there's just good information here. You know you hear it just like I do. And there's a lot of people who need this information, and we're coming up on a time where there are going to be organizations who are going to need to utilize some of these resources. So please share this video. And there's so many groups that are around town that feed the homeless, that feed the elderly, just all types of different things. Utilize the resources that we've been blessed with today, and reach out to Farmer Fredo and his organization and his company and his business. And hopefully this won't be the last time that we have him on, because as you can see, he has a lot to talk about and a lot of nuggets to drop on us about business, about growing, and what he's doing and his mission. So I thank him so much for being here today. But once again, tell us what you have coming up and how we can connect with you.
All right. So again, I'm Farmer Fredo. That's FARMERFREDO. You can find me on Facebook. And then this coming week, tomorrow I'll be at Bill Miller Community Center at 10 a.m. doing a planting of fall crops. We're planting collards, kale, rutabagas, turnips, and maybe some mustard greens out there. And this Saturday, I will be at Bennett's Feed and Seed at 10 a.m. for a Grow Your Groceries workshop. And feel free, through my Facebook page, you can reach out to me. And also on Thursdays here in Dougherty County, I do what's called a farm-to-table produce box. So every week I provide freshly grown seasonal produce in partnership with a farm out of Cairo, Georgia, called Hopkins Farm. So every week you can order a half size, a full size of produce from me, and all that information is on our Facebook page. And in the coming weeks, I hope to have my website up and running. But right now, my focus is on growing food and feeding people before Thanksgiving.
Whole different kind of ministry, you guys. Like, I'm serious. I absolutely love what this gentleman is doing. And like I said, this won't be the last time that we have him on, because I also want to help empower people by making sure that they know about what he has to offer, because it's things that we need to know about, things that we need to consider in our everyday lives. So tell us the last thing you want to leave Dream Doer Nation with as far as your business, any words of advice for the other entrepreneurs that are out there.
Yeah, so one of the foundational things that I believe in, I call it like the spirit of partnership. So in order for your business to grow, you have to be willing to say, I'm gonna walk side by side with somebody else. Because what I found out in my doings or what I do, they speak more about you than you could do for yourself.
Correct.
They can open up doors of opportunities that you might not be able to open up. And I've had that happen in my life where I've tried to reach out to groups that could benefit from what I do, made cold calls, showed up at meetings, sent emails and letters, and had little response. But then I allowed somebody that had a track record with the person to be my spokesperson. And then the next thing you know, I'm sitting in a room with people from city council.
Wow.
You know, and I'm hearing from Doherty County's economic development that there's like resources here for me to do what I'm doing.
Wow.
Like
okay.
I would have never thought about partnering with the Georgia Department of Public Health.
Right.
But that came through because of a relationship for somebody I was planting seeds with at a community garden somewhere else. And so that's one of the things I believe in. Let go of, I have to do this. I'm the head. I gotta do it all, and take more of how can I step back and support somebody else.
Okay.
Because in that support, like I told Lisa today, I never did a Facebook Live before. I don't know what this is. I play with my
broke them in, everybody.
And she started breaking it down to me. But that's relationships, you know,
Absolutely.
because through you, we have other people that are liking, that are sharing, that are hearing this information, and I would have never known. I wouldn't reach you. So partnership, the spirit of partnership, and being willing to work alongside or behind someone. Those are the keys to what I feel leads what I do. It's not, I'm not in the front or trying to be in the front, but it happens. But my goal is always to find another business, another entrepreneur, another organization, another agency that wants to make sure everyone has access to good, fresh, available produce.
That's what's up. I hope you received that, Dream Doer Nation. I most definitely did. Farmer Fredo, y'all make sure you go check him out. Until the next time, Dream Doer Nation, thank you guys so much for all of your support. Peace.
Keep growing.